Some REL subs can use a high-level output signal from your amp or receiver, the same signal you are sending to your speakers. The idea here is that the sub receives the exact same sonic information as the rest of your system, allowing it to integrate itself better into your music. The key is timing, something REL are passionate about. When fed this high-level signal, their subs pump out the low notes in perfect time with your music or movies, creating a richer overall experience. Since we will be tapping into your amp or receiver's speaker-level outputs, connection is a little different than with subs that connect to your receiver's subwoofer RCA output. I should note that REL subs also have low-level and LFE inputs, which you would connect just like any sub you've had before. However, we and REL recommend taking advantage of this high-level connection if possible. The first step is to determine what type of amplifier you have, because the high-level connection is slightly different for different amp types. Your owner's manual, the manufacturer's page, or our product page are good ways to find out if your amp is Class AB, Class D, or balanced. REL includes a special cable with a Neutrik Speakon connection on one end and 3 wires at the other end. The red and yellow wires are for left and right signal, and the black wire is for ground. Pull off the pre-stripped tips to expose the bare wire. Make sure your amp is switched off and your REL sub is unplugged. Here's how you connect your REL sub to a Class AB amp. Connect the red wire to the right or right front positive terminal. Connect the yellow wire to the left or front left positive terminal. Then connect the black wire to the negative terminal of either speaker you just connected to. You can make these connections with bare wire, but you can also add a crimp connector like a spade connector for sake of convenience. Once connections are made, you can turn the amp back on. Connect the Speakon connector on the other end of the cable to the high-level input on the back of the sub. Line up the metal release tab on the top of the connector, push in, and twist to the right. You'll feel it seat itself and make a nice physical connection. Connecting to a Class D amp, or balanced amp, is the same process but with a different approach to grounding. You'll connect the red wire to right positive and the yellow wire to left positive, just like with the Class AB amp. This time, though, you should not connect the black wire at all. Leave it floating instead. It's wise to protect the bare wire at the end using some electrical tape so it doesn't come into contact with anything. If you experience some hum, there are a couple things you can do. One option is to connect that black ground wire to a chassis ground on your amp. If there isn't one available, simply loosen a chassis screw and ground your wire there, somewhere it contacts metal. Another thing you can do to eliminate that hum is to attach an RCA cable from an unused RCA output on the amp, or from your preamp if you use one, to the LFE input on the REL sub. Then turn the LFE volume level all the way off. In this case, the sub gets its ground from the collar of the RCA output. If you are using a REL sub with the high-level inputs with your home theater receiver, you'll connect the same way you would for a 2-channel Class D amplifier or Class AB amplifier, depending on which class your home theater receiver belongs to. Use the front, right, and left positive speaker terminals like you would with a stereo amp or receiver. In addition to the high-level connection, you can also run an RCA subwoofer cable from the LFE output of the home theater receiver to the LFE input on your REL sub. This gives you the full impact from your movie and game soundtracks. REL points out that you'll get the best sound for music using just the high-level connection, but fortunately most home theater receivers will then let you determine the setup for different sources. You'll need to dive into your receiver's menu. For video sources, leave the LFE on. And for 2-channel audio sources, you can turn the LFE off so the sub gets its input from the high-level inputs, so it's perfectly in sync with your front speakers. Monoblock amp connections work a little differently. If you plan to use a single REL sub with a set of monoblock amps, you should use the low-level RCA connection to avoid damage to the sub or amp. If you plan to run a pair, however, you can use the high-level signal by using the two included cables together. Here's how. Turn off your amps and connect the corresponding cable's ground wire to the amp's chassis ground. Make sure you connect the ground cable for the left sub to the left amplifier's ground and vice versa. Twist together the red and yellow wires on each cable and connect them to the corresponding positive speaker terminal. Turn your amp back on, then connect the Speakon connector to the left and right subs, turn them on, and start the tuning process we mentioned earlier. Sometimes this monoblock connection results in too much output from the subs, meaning you can only turn up the volume on the sub a few clicks before it gets too loud. To fix that, just remove the red or yellow wire from the pair you twisted together. Make sure to tape off the wire you took out of that so it doesn't touch anything important. This will have the output and give you finer control over volume if needed. Once your connections are made, it's time to give them a quick tune. Adjust the sub's high-low level to 10 o'clock. Adjust the crossover to 10 o'clock also, and plug your sub in. Turn the sub on and adjust the toggle switch to always on. Then, pick out a favorite stereo recording and adjust your level and crossover to suit your sound. So that's how you use the high-level inputs on REL subs. If you have any question about REL subs or anything else we sell, feel free to reach out to us at Crutchfield. And thanks for watching.